Good morning, students. Now let's start our lesson. Lecture number 4. The qualitative composition of food ration importance. First, basic nutrients. Food consists of 6 main components: carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, and minerals. Water. These components provide the 6 types of nutrients essential for human body, with energy, protein, vitamins, essential fatty acids, minerals, and water. Fiber, though not usually labeled as a nutrient, is an important component of food, and its deficiency gives rise to various diseases syndromes. The basic role of fats and carbohydrates in nutrition is similar, i.e., to act as a source of energy. It's true that fats also supply the essential fatty acids. Proteins. Dietary proteins provide amino acids for the synthesis of body proteins. Both structural proteins and biologically active enzymes and other biologically important uh, nitrogenous compounds in the body. Proteins are primary structural and functional components of every living cell. Proteins perform a wide range of functions and also provide energy, 4 calories. Body proteins are made up of 20 amino acids, 8 of which are essential, i.e., these cannot be made in the human body and must be present as such in food in adequate amounts. These are isoleucine, lysine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, threonine, tryptophan, and uh, valine. In addition, histidine is an essential amino acid for infants. Amino proteins, in contrast to plant proteins, have an amino acid pattern that resembles the human tissue proteins more closely. Therefore, animal proteins have a better quality than plant proteins. But plant proteins may be combined judiciously to derive a good quality protein mixture. A classical example is a cereal pulse combination in which the lysine deficiency of cereals is made up by pulses and the methionine deficiency of pulses is made up by cereals. Proteins of animal origin must be 55% of the total proteins. We know there are 2 types of proteins: proteins of animal origin and proteins of vegetable origin. And here proteins of animal origin must be 55%, and proteins of vegetable origin must be uh, 45%. Fats. Second it is fats. Fats are chemically triglycerides, i.e., esters of glycerol and lower saturated and unsaturated fatty acids, and are classified as animal fats and vegetable fats. However, the term fat is often loosely used as a synonym for lipids, which include triglycerides, phospholipids, and sterols. Fats are distinguished from oil by their different melting points. Fats are solid and oils liquid at room temperature. Fat is one of the major sources of calorie to the body, which provides 9 calories of energy per gram. It helps in digestion, absorption, and transportation of fat-soluble vitamins, for example, vitamin A, D, E, and K. The dietary fatty acids have been subdivided into three broad classes according to the degree of unsaturation. Saturated fatty acids have no double bonds. Monosaturated fatty acids have one double bond, and polyunsaturated fatty acids have two or more double bonds. Uh, this configuration means that the hydrogen atoms attached to the double bonds are on the same side. If the hydrogen atoms are on opposite sides, the configuration is termed trans. Each broad classification of fatty acids may have unique biological properties and health effects. Trans fatty acids are produced during the partial hydrogenation of PUFA. Trans fatty acids have been associated with adverse effects on lipoprotein status by elevating uh, LDL and decreasing HDL. Trans fatty acid formation occurs when oil is heated over and over again during drying with oil, especially when same oil used repeatedly. Polyunsaturated fatty acids (PUFA) are essential components of cell membranes. The N-six polyunsaturated fatty acids are predominant in all cells, while the nerve tissue has high levels of long-chain N-three polyunsaturated fatty acids. The two most important polyunsaturated essential fatty acids, namely linoleic N6 and linolenic acid N3, are metabolized at various sites in the body to generate a group of biologically active compounds which perform several important physiological functions. Further, polyunsaturated fatty acids reduce total cholesterol, influence peripheral glucose utilization, insulin action, and decrease adiposity and hence are anti-atherogenic. Uh, on the other hand, saturated fatty acids are known to increase serum total LDL cholesterol levels, reduce insulin sensitivity, and increase CVD risk. Excessive fat in the diet increases the risk of obesity, heart diseases, and stroke and cancer. Carbohydrates, along with fat and protein, are the macro components of the diet, the principal dietary sources of energy. The principal dietary carbohydrates are sugars and complex carbohydrates. The sugars include monosaccharides such as glucose and fructose and disaccharides such as sucrose, for example table sugar, maltose, and lactose. Lactose it is in, for example, in milk sugar. And complex carbohydrates, Saccharides, for example, comprise starches and dietary fibers. Starch are polymers of glucose. Dietary fibers are mainly indigestible complex carbohydrates in plant cells wall, for example, cellulose and pectin, and a variety of gums, mucilage, and algal polysaccharides. Lignin is a non-carbohydrate component of dietary fiber in plant cell walls. Dietary fibers are converted to some extent into absor- absorbable fatty acids by intestinal microorganisms. Glucose, absorbed in the intestine or produced by the liver, is an important energy source for most tissues. Other dietary hexoses, fructose, for example, and the galactose moiety of the disaccharide lactose, are converted to glucose in the liver. Most amino acids, the glycerol components of fat, and some organic acids can be converted to glucose. Therefore, there is no absolute dietary requirement for carbohydrates, at least under most circumstances. In the absence of dietary carbohydrates, however, lipolysis of stored triglycerides and oxidation of fatty acids increase and ketone bodies accumulate. A carbohydrate-free diet also is generally associated with an accelerated breakdown of dietary and tissue protein, loss of cations, and dehydration. Sugars, including sucrose in food, provide the substrate for microorganisms in the mouth that are responsible for tooth decay, particularly in children. Caries-producing potential depends on the ability of the carbohydrates to adhere to the tooth surface and the frequency of consumption, both of which affect the length of time carbohydrates are available as a bacterial substrate. Ingestion of other food may inhibit the increase of oral hydrogen ion concentration associated with ingestion of sucrose and hence its carcinogenicity. Fruits, snacks or candies and other sweets may be more cardiogenic than sugars consumed as part of a meal. Inadequate intake of fluoride also inhibits tooth decay produced by dietary sugars. Dietary fiber is the subject of considerable recent interest and extensive reviews. Because they are hygroscopic, dietary fibers soften the stool and hence promote normal elimination. Fiber-rich diets may also increase satiety. Some fiber components, including leucine and pectin, also lower plasma cholesterol levels, either by binding bile acids or by other mechanisms. The consumption of diets rich in plant foods, for example, therefore fiber, is inversely related to the incidence of cardiovascular diseases, colon cancer, and diabetes because an increase of dietary fiber consumption is almost invariably associated with a change in other dietary constituents. It is difficult to establish a clear relationship with dietary fiber alone. One plausible mechanism for an anticarcinogenic effect is a rapid passage of the digestive mass through the colon, thereby reducing the possibility that potential carcinogens have an opportunity to interact with the mucosal surface. In addition, the increased mass of the softer stool may dilute carcinogens. Over the last decade, many health organizations have recommended increasing the intake of complex carbohydrates in general or dietary fiber in particular. The subcommittee recommends that a desirable fiber intake be achieved not by adding fiber concentrates to the diet, but by a consumption of fruits, vegetables, legumes, and whole grain cereals, which also provide minerals and vitamins. And thank you.